a whisper of eternity. In the kingdom of Egypt, in the year 1275 BC, under the golden reign of the 19th dynasty, life and death were woven together as tightly as the reeds in a papyrus scroll. The sun, the incandescent eye of Ra, was the harbinger of both. Its rising rays nourished the black, fertile soil of the Kemet along the Nile, yet its unblinking stare scorched the red desert lands. The Deshre, where the eternal houses of the dead lay in silent vigil. Between these two worlds, nestled in a fold of the Theban hills, lay the village of Taset Ma'at, the place of truth. To the outside world, it was known as Deir el-Medina, a settlement of sun-baked, mud-brick homes that baked under the relentless Egyptian sun. But to its inhabitants, it was the beating heart of the afterlife. Here lived the artisans, the chosen craftsmen of the pharaoh, whose sole purpose was to carve, paint, and prepare the tombs that riddled the nearby Valley of the Kings. They were the architects of eternity, and their work was a sacred duty. Among them was a young draftsman named Kenaman. The cool, pre-dawn air, still holding the ghost of night's chill, did little to soothe the familiar ache in his shoulders. He rose from his reed mat, his body a testament to his trade. His days were spent contorted on wooden scaffolds, his neck craned towards the ceilings of tombs, his world illuminated by the flickering, smoky light of oil lamps. His hands, though deft and possessed of a preternatural steadiness, were permanently stained along the cuticles with the stubborn ghosts of carbon black and red ochre inks. He was a creator of lines, the first artist to grace the pristine plaster walls, sketching the intricate cosmography of the underworld that others would later bring to life with vibrant color. From the main room of their modest home, the rhythmic grinding of emmer wheat paused. "Kenaman," his mother Merit's voice called, a sound as warm and comforting as baked bread. "The sun does not wait for dreamers, and neither does Foreman Pazer. Your father has already left for the docks. The barges from the granite quarries wait for no man." He entered the main room, the heart of their home. The air was fragrant with the scent of the flatbread his mother was preparing over the clay oven. She looked at him, her eyes discerning, noting the weariness in his posture, but also the flicker of anticipation he could not hide. "Eat," she said, handing him a warm piece of bread and a handful of sweet, sticky dates. A steady hand requires a full stomach. His gaze fell upon the small, faience amulet of Bastet that lay against his chest, its turquoise glaze cool against his skin. A gift from his mother for protection, a ward against the scorpions of the desert and the darker spirits that were believed to linger near the necropolis. But today he needed more than protection. He needed favor. News had swept through the village like a sudden desert wind. The vizier Rekhmira, the right hand of the pharaoh himself, had journeyed to the field of reeds. His tomb, long in preparation, was nearing completion, but its centerpiece, the grand sarcophagus of red granite, remained a blank canvas. Today, Master Passer, the stern and revered head scribe of the necropolis, would select the one draftsman worthy of outlining the sacred texts and imagery upon it. To be chosen was to have one's skill acknowledged by the highest authorities, to be elevated in the eyes of one's peers. More than that, it was a tangible blessing for one's family. Increased rations of the finest grain, more beer, perhaps even a length of quality linen. As Kenaman stepped out into the nascent morning, the village was already a hive of activity. The narrow, unpaved lanes bustled with fellow craftsmen, their voices a low hum of conversation. He nodded to friends, their faces like his, etched with a shared purpose. He saw the overseers, their authority absolute, identifiable by the acacia wood canes they held as symbols of their station. In the distance, the colossal temples of Thebes on the east bank were just beginning to catch the morning light. He clutched a small, smooth stone in his pocket, a scarab beetle he had painstakingly carved from soapstone, its underside inscribed with a silent prayer to Khepri, the god of the rising sun and rebirth. It was a humble offering for a monumental hope. His path took him to the edge of the village, where the cultivated green abruptly surrendered to the stark ochre cliffs of the desert. Before him lay the path to the valley, a place of profound silence, ruled by the jackal god Anubis, the opener of the ways. At the designated gathering point, a flat expanse of rock shaded by an overhanging cliff. The artisans were already assembled. The air was thick with tension, a stark contrast to the usual morning camaraderie. Kenneman spotted his chief rival, a man named Setao. Older, with a reputation for precision and a network of friends in high places, Setao stood with an air of confidence that bordered on arrogance. Laughing with one of the junior overseers, Kenneman felt a knot tighten in his stomach. His own skill was undeniable, his lines fluid and imbued with a life that few could match. But the ways of men were often more complex than the pathways of the underworld he drew. Master Pacer arrived, and a respectful silence fell over the assembled men. Pacer was a man carved from the desert itself, lean, weathered, with eyes that seemed to miss nothing. He carried the weight of generations, for his duty was to ensure that the legacy of the pharaohs was perfectly immortalized. "Men of the place of truth," his voice boomed, echoing slightly against the rock face. "The vizier Rechmir, may he be justified in the eyes of Osiris, requires his vessel for eternity. The granite has arrived. The work must begin." He scanned the faces before him, his gaze lingering for a moment on Setao, then sweeping across the others until it found Kenneman. "This is not mere decoration," Pacer continued, his voice dropping to a more solemn tone. "These are the words of power, the images of passage. The lines drawn upon this stone will guide the vizier's soul past the demons of the 12 gates. They must be perfect, flawless, divinely inspired. Only one of you possesses the blend of discipline and grace required." Kenneman's heart hammered against his ribs. This was the moment. His entire life, every lesson from his father, every hour of practice had led to this. He met Pacer's gaze, attempting to project the calm and certainty of Ma'at, the divine order, and truth he so meticulously drew each day. In the vast, silent theater of the Theban necropolis, under the watchful eye of a rising god, his future was about to be written. If you loved this dive into the past, hit that like button, subscribe for more epic histories.